Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to journal the day one entry of 100 days of less hustle, more Jesus. So the first thing that I'm going to do is read the left hand side of the page, and I'm going to highlight and underline the words that stand out to me. Guess what? You don't need an invitation to rest. You don't need someone to give you permission, and you don't have to prove that you deserve it. You are worthy, always. Not just on the days when you feel like you've done enough or finally gotten things right. You are worthy because you are divinely created and infinitely loved. Can you hear that still small voice calling you home to your heart? Jesus knows that the deepest love and the greatest transformation begin at His feet. Find your way there as often as you can. He delights in your presence and longs to give you rest. So after we've read the introduction, let's now read the Bible verses that are on the bottom of the page. My beloved spoke and said to me, "Arise, my darling, my beautiful one, come with me." That's from Song of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 10. She had a sister called Mary, who sat at the Lord's feet listening to what He said. That's from Luke chapter 10, verse 39. God decided in advance to adopt us into His own family by bringing us to Himself through Jesus Christ. This is what He wanted to do, and it gave Him great pleasure. That's from Ephesians chapter 1, verse 5. So this is where I'm going to use my phone. I use the YouVersion Bible app, and what I'm going to do is look up all three Bible verses that are on the left-hand side of the page, but I'm going to look them up in different versions. I prefer the New King James Version, so that's the one that I used. And what I did was just go through and write down the adjectives that were used in the New King James Version. And so for Song of Solomon, I wrote down the words my love, my fair one, my darling, my beautiful one, and my beloved. After I did that, I went to just the dictionary online and looked up the word beloved that's used in both versions. And the synonyms for that were adored, prized, esteemed, cherished, and treasured. And I think that when you really look at all of those words together, it really kind of sums up that verse. Some other ways that you could start journaling for day one would be to use stamps. People also use washi tape. If you just look on Instagram, you'll get a lot of inspiration. But for me, I just wanted to keep it really simple for this first day. So the next thing that I'm going to do is just move on to the next verse, which is in Luke. And I wanted to look up Luke 10 because that's the one that we are going over. So I looked up Luke 10 in the New King James Version, and I kind of looked at the whole section. So I wanted to point out who we're referring to when it says she had a sister, and that person would be Martha. So if you read that story, it talks about how basically Martha was distracted. She was doing things around the house, and she wasn't really focused on Jesus, whereas her sister Mary sat down, she took rest, at Jesus' feet and really listen to him. And I think that that's what I really wanted to focus on for that verse, is that there's so many things that distract us in day-to-day life with work and family and all the obligations that we have. And this whole first day is just really about rest. And I thought that was another great example that they gave, that we should really stop and rest with Jesus at his feet. When I read my Bible, I really try to focus in on listen to what God is speaking to me. And I think that this happens quite often, probably to a lot of people. But there's two questions that I always keep in mind when I have a thought that I think is from the Holy Spirit. The first one is does it align with biblical teachings? And if so, is it part of the fruits of the Holy Spirit that's talked about in the Bible? If those two things are true, then I know that it's not coming from my own fleshly desires, but it's really coming from the Holy Spirit. So I just wanted to write those down just as a reminder. When I stop and listen and rest with my Bible and read the Word, are those two things happening? So next we're going to move on to the last verse, and that was in Ephesians. So I'm going to once again pull up the Bible app and look at a different version and read it. So in Ephesians, another word for where it says God decided in advance would be predestined. So God has predestined that he would send Jesus, that Jesus would die for us, and that he would create heaven as a place to be with us. And I think that's a really important part of the Bible that kind of gets overlooked sometimes, is that the purpose of heaven is purely for God to love us for eternity and for him to be with us and spend time with us. And the best way to honor that would be to spend time with him every single day. So that's going to wrap it up for day one in this devotional journal. I hope that you guys found this helpful and inspiring. Let me know how you guys decided to journal, whether you did it in this book or if you did it in your actual Bible. Come on over to Instagram, say hi. If you like these videos, please subscribe, and I'll talk to you in my next one. Bye.